Hey guys, welcome back to the JJSports podcast. Once again, I'm Josh.
I'm Joey.
And we apologize. We had some technical difficulties. And if you were tuning into our most recent episode, you would notice that we got cut off during the hockey segment. And anyway, we're going to get right back into it. We were recently, or the most recent thing we were discussing, were new captains handed out as roles in the NHL. Joey, we already spoke about the new captain in Boston, Patrice Bergeron. And right before we got cut off, we were speaking about Dylan Larkin. And I don't know if you heard what I said before we got cut off, because it was, I think, on your end, because my Wi-Fi was fine. You were trying to pull things up and trying to find a new Wi-Fi source. But aside from all that, I told you, if you didn't hear, and if you did hear, I'll repeat it, that I think Larkin was the right guy to give it to. He's been there the longest in the system in terms of guys who they think have the potential to really lead this organization, guys they want to keep around, I'm sure, for a good amount of time. I know I mentioned Bertuzzi and Mantha. They have some good pieces there. Troy Stetcher is going to be, he's a young defenseman who could help turn that blue line into something good. Mark Stahl's good in veteran leadership. Bobby Ryan's good in veteran leadership. Thomas Greiss is a big upgrade in net. But I just, like I said, I don't think they're going to be a competitive team. And I think that, to help lead them in that direction, like I said, Philip Zadina, they already brought up, they still have Lucas Raymond in the prospect pool. They could be making some noise, in 2 or 3 years. I think they have a bright future. And I think that naming Larkin to the role of captain was definitely something that'll help them in terms of a leadership role and moving in the right direction.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I have to agree more. I mean, it's a huge step. They're not close to contention, so good step.
Yeah, and he's getting better also. Like he's very good.
He's their best player, so yeah.
Yeah, and he's getting better, and
those are two teams that, they're not the best, but they're both interesting with their captain choices. This team, on the other hand, not only are they good, they're my secret pick to win the cup. And with this guy as their captain, hell yeah. Who is it? Mr. Mark Stone, everybody, of the Vegas Golden Knights. This is so freaking deserved. What do you think?
I think that you said all that has to be said. It was deserved. He's been a hardworking player. We really saw him take that next leap to his game since, I want to say, the 2016-17 season with the Ottawa Senators. He was great for them that year, especially in the postseason. He scored for them in bunches. I know that, I'm not proud to say it, but he smoked the Rangers. And he was good for them against the Penguins. And the next year, they weren't a good team, but it didn't stop him from having a good year. And he finished that entire season with the Ottawa Senators. And then the next year, he was obviously, he was traded to the Vegas Golden Knights, where he was there late in the year. And he was good, as he had always been for the rest of the regular season. But in the playoffs in 2018-19, that season, the 2019 playoffs, is when he really took that next step. And through the first 3 or 4 games, he had like 7 or 8 goals. He had a hat trick in their first home playoff game of the whole postseason. And he had that 2-goal game the game before when they tied the series at 1-1. And he's just a great team player. I don't know if anyone keeps up with the NHL's YouTube channel, but they have this segment called Puck Personalities where they ask a certain question. One of the questions was, if you could take another player's skill, who would it be? And what would it be? What skill would it be? And Jonathan Marchessault, so his teammates said the way he thinks the game. And you really I know that it might be some like a joking matter, like I want the speed because like speed kills and everything. And I want the shot because he can't stop. It doesn't matter. But mental preparation for this game is just as important, if not more important than physical preparation. And Mark Stone, I think, is one of the best, one of the really best overall solid players. He's not an absolute superstar scorer or defender. He's just an overall good player who leads by example, and he's reliable. He gets results, and he does that about as well as anyone in the NHL, especially on this Golden Knights team. And as I mentioned before, they play, in my opinion, the best team style hockey in the NHL. They always have since coming into the league. They've never been bad. They've always made the playoffs. And for the second time in 3 years, last year they were a Western Conference finalist team. And I think that,
I mean, they would have been in the Western Conference for 3 years in a row if it wasn't for some
right. Yeah.
whatever.
We don't get into that. And
Yeah, we never
I
do.
know people might be shocked to see, well, how wasn't it Alex Pietrangelo? Because he was actually a captain, and Stone was an alternate captain on, even on the Senators before, the Golden
That's
Knights.
true, but it's very rare for someone to come
But in his first season, like I
Yeah,
don't,
like only Mark Messier is one of the few people I know that came into the league as a captain, like came to a new team. So it's very, very rare stuff.
It's more common that they make those types of acquisitions and players like that, an alternate captain in their first year, and that, after a year, if they really prove that they could become the captain for a new franchise after just 1 year that they did. That's what they did with John Tavares in Toronto last year. In his first year, he was an alternate captain, and last year he became the captain of that team. And Alex Pietrangelo, if they wouldn't have named a captain this year, I believe would have gotten an A. And had he shown that, again, he could captain a new franchise in a completely new, different system, he would have been the captain next year. But they decided to go with Mark Stone. I'm happy he got it. He deserves it. And even like the alternate captains on that team, they have a very good leading and supporting staff. I'm sure I don't know if Pietrangelo got it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He's deserving of one if he didn't. He's proven that. He's great. Stone is great as the captain. William Karlsson, I believe, is also an alternate captain. He's great. I don't know if Marchessault was a letter, but he's great as well. Shea Theodore, I think, might have one.
I'm gonna.
I don't know 100%, but they have a lot of good, and Riley Smith also. I mean,
I'm checking. Hold on.
So good, and Max Pacioretty also. Pacioretty would have been my second guess.
They don't say it on this roster. That's annoying.
Okay, well, either way, we're not gonna whatever. We won't get into that. But the point is, this is a team that has a lot of good leadership to it, and Stone deserved it, and there's not really much else to say.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I was basically, it was a new topic, but same topic, but different type of scenario. And I do just want to point out, I don't know if you're aware of this, but while there hasn't officially been a captain named, but for the New York Rangers, I guess
I was going to say this. I was going to
point this out. You can go for this one if you were going to say it.
If you want to say it, it's fine. But I was going to say, while they haven't named a captain, they have opted to name 4 alternate captains.
Yes.
2 of them, obvious mainstays from last year. Mr. Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider are 2 top candidates probably for the captaincy. Not this year, though. And the other 2, not exactly surprises, but pretty interesting. Jacob Trouba, who made a big splash for last season, and Artemi Panarin getting that A.
For me, Panarin was the big one that needed to be part of that.
It had to be done.
In all honesty, while he's probably the best player on that team, I don't think he'll be given the captain.
No, probably not. I
don't think it's because he's not capable, but the captain, obviously, leading with your voice is a big part. And Panarin just doesn't speak that much English. If he could learn English,
I was about to say, like, he can't.
I wouldn't be surprised. Look, I mean, he knows English, but he doesn't.
But I will point out, there's one defense to your argument. There's one counter. There's a player in this league who was Russian, who didn't know English, but became the captain. And not necessarily because he was the best leader, but definitely because he was the best player. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Alex Ovechkin, captaincy.
He speaks it. He speaks English fluently.
No, but in the beginning, did he speak in his first season?
Not his first season, but look, he didn't get the captain in his first season.
No, okay, but
and he only. But Panarin's already been in the league for 4 or 5 years.
Okay, I don't know. It's just whatever. I personally do think it should go to Mika Zibanejad. That's me personally. I know everyone's talking about, Kreider's been here the whole time and everything, but I just think
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Joey. I have to say Kreider, and it's not because he's been there the whole time. It's because I know Zibanejad's future most likely does lie with the Rangers, but he's only a Ranger for the next year or 2, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him walk. Now, I also wouldn't be surprised if they re-signed him to another 4 or 5 year deal, because he's definitely the player who deserves that. I think he wants to stay as a Ranger, especially with the future they have coming up, as we've always gone over with Panarin, signed for the next 6 years, and Kreider the next 6 years, and Trouba the next 6 years. And you've got the prospect pool, and they've brought some of those players up like Lafreniere and Shesterkin, who is going to hopefully get a full crack at a full season now, sharing time with Georgiev still. But he wasn't, he was called up midway last year, and obviously hopefully they bring those Lundqvist in soon, as well as as Braden Schneider, who is going to be, at least as far as we know now, not going to be playing this year.
Yeah.
And then Vitaly Kravtsov is still in the prospect pool, and even Capo Caco, who's already played a full year. But I mean, still the upside is there. And
yeah, well, how would you feel if they didn't name either of them captain? They waited 2-3 years to name somebody like Kako or Lafreniere as captain. How would you feel?
I don't know. That would be very interesting. And I
would be against it, man, because you look at McDavid and stuff like that, and we're not against that choice at all.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I think that, and like I said, I think he definitely wants to be a part of the Rangers' future. But I mean, it's just not official yet, unless they offer him an extension within like the next year or two. But he's signed.
They have to. He is one of the best deals in the league. He's a discount. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like he's taken the next leap as we've said. He's become an elite center, definitely a top center in the NHL right now. I would definitely mark him as top 10. I don't really know. Like really like the clear choices. And I'm not talking about players who play center and left wing. I'm talking about just strict centers, right? Like that's their primary position. Aside from really McDavid, McKinnon, I think Draisaitl's primary position is center.
And but not everybody's a center.
Right. Like even Crosby still and Evgeny Malkin. Like other than that, who are really like the elite, like clear centers above Mika Zibanejad?
Bergeron is the.
Bergeron, excuse me. Like, no, that was a big miss right there. But other than that,
maybe O'Reilly, but that's it.
I mean, like O'Reilly started to not revive.
But that's it.
He took that next leap over the last year, similar to the way Zibanejad. He was always a solid player like Zibanejad, but he didn't really.
Yeah, so I think he can be top 10.
Same thing in my opinion with Alexander Barkov. I know he was great, and he probably is also a top 10 center in the league right now. Not probably, I think he definitely.
I think he's just more valuable to the Rangers because he's not just a center; he's a two-way player. He can play. He does the back.
Oh, Austin Matthews also.
True. Yeah. But not only that, I think, no disrespect to Kreider, Zibs just has bigger moments for us, and it's not just like random moments; it's like key moments. We all know about the 5-goal game,
right? Okay?
That was crazy. But there was even there was that overtime winner against the Islanders. The fact that everyone.
Ryder had that last second goal against Columbus last year. He had that last second goal against the Islanders, against the Washington Capitals back in 2015. He scored the game tire with what would have been just under 2 minutes left in the Rangers season.
Obviously in 2015 and 2013, he also had a thing that stopped them from being swept by the Bruins in the playoffs. But I'm talking about last year. Mika was super important because when he was out, the Rangers weren't playing as well. And the fact is, when he came back, he didn't play as much as other players. He still led the league in goals per game at the.
That's fair.
I just think he's more valuable. So I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah, I think that's all you could say.
I have one thing I want to add, and that's
okay.
That's Kreider does have a little more experience, which would lead me to believe. I know you mentioned all the moments, but I think that something does factor in also the veteran leadership and experience. And while Zibanejad hasn't proven to be bad or struggling because of his lack of experience compared to Kreider, at least, because Zibanejad's still a fairly young player.
Yeah, but I think he's had enough experience on this team. He's been here since 2017, and he had big moments.
Okay, like I said, I'll stick behind that. But that would really be like the determining factor between him and Kreider for me.
Okay, I just think
I won't be upset if either of them get it, and I would love to see Zibanejad get it. But I just think his future is a little less undetermined here. That his future is a little less.
If they re-sign him, you might change.
Right, if they re-sign him, I think he should get it. No question. But
so I guess
it would name one now. Then Kreider would be the guy I would assume they pick.
Okay. God, just want to make your story straight. Okay, so yeah, if he signed him, you give it to Zibanejad.
Yes, but not.
Okay. So now I have a question for you, Josh. What is better, 4-0 or 5-0?
I mean, I know what you want me to say, and I know what
I want you to say what any rational person would say.
Like it would be 5-0, but I just want to say though that it should have been more than 5-0. I mean, the Islanders. Okay, like just for the viewers who are a little unclear, we're talking about both Rangers versus Islanders matchups, the first two games, because the NHL season is finally underway and in full swing. Almost everyone has played a game except for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, that's because of a COVID outbreak.
Yeah, but we're not going to get into that. In terms of just teams that have already been getting their feet wet and are already in the water playing games. So we've got the Islanders and Rangers, arguably the biggest rivalry in the NHL. Actually, I don't know, but it's definitely one of. The only two teams from New York City's metropolitan area, anyway.
Sorry, Buffalo.
Well, whatever. Like, not going to count, not counting out other rivalries, but this is the one we're talking about now. And to say that, you basically had the same thing, except the roles were reversed in back-to-back games. An opening night at the Garden. Both games were at the Garden, actually. Let's just clarify that. Rangers got the best.
I think there were differences because in the first game, I think the first game there were way more stupid penalties.
The Rangers got their butts kicked, okay, and we can't deny that in the first game. Like, there's nothing more. You can't say like.
But then they kicked their butts back.
They did. They did.
Better. 5-0.
I also just want to say that if there's one thing, right, I don't have any complaints about the fact that the Rangers lost. Like, they didn't play like they deserved to win opening night. But one thing I just quickly want to dwell upon, and I'm telling you right now quickly, okay, so it doesn't become a big thing, is there was a play where the puck was clearly loose in the crease. The whistle had blown after the puck was put in the net by the Rangers, and they called it no goal. About 25 minutes later in the game, in the third period, the Islanders had a very similar type of play. The puck was clearly loose. The puck was put in the net after the whistle, and they called it a goal. Now, it was called off because on that play, there was goalie interference. There was no goalie interference on the first play. But the referee straight up said that the puck was clearly across the line, and it was.
But it didn't count.
But here's the catch. Before the whistle was blown, and that is true. And they said that was a goal. But
that's just silly.
On the call prior with the Rangers, you could see the puck clearly across the line before they blew the whistle. And they said, because the whistle had blown, what's it called? They said, like, the puck was clearly across the line. The whistle had blown after. However, we have no goal on the ice due to ... Right? It was the same thing. There was no difference beside the fact that the Islanders was called off because there was goalie interference. Because there was, but there was nothing else beside that. There was nothing on the Rangers. It was just they straight up said no goal. And they said, like, there was no, like, they said the same thing for the Islanders, but they called it a goal for the exact same reason on the opposite side, which I just didn't get. But anyway, like, that's
I think people gotta keep something in mind, not to take anything away from Igor. It's just like he doesn't have the kind of record. He doesn't have the kind of like games against the Islanders that Georgiev has. If you watch Georgiev,
he never played the Islanders. I just want to point
exactly. He just had no idea how to play this team. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can beat a team once you've played them, and he's literally never played this team, so he has no idea what to expect. He just has no clue. Georgiev, on the other hand, knows them very well, and we know that's true because of what happened in the
4-1 in 5 starts.
Exactly. Now he's like 5-5.
A very good history against one of the better teams in the NHL.
And
huge plus.
And the only thing I'll say, I'll say to be fair against the Islanders is that they were playing with Sorokin, who's never played anybody.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But still, like, what a game, man. Panarin, 2 beauties. Buchnevich got 2 goals, and Kakko, who everybody was worried about last year, only in the second game of the season, bam, got a goal. Remember how long it took him to score last season? Already second game, and he scored. So
he scored in his 3rd game last year.
The Oilers was not the 3rd game.
Yes, it was.
Really?
Yes, it was. Because they basically had 2 bye weeks for like their first.
Oh, that's right. Okay, but it did take long in terms of length. It was like a month. It was a
month when they had played 3 games in that span.
No, but it was a month in. It was just a while since he played this first game.
Okay, whatever. I'm not getting.
That's all I was saying. I remember it being
one more game last year.
No, but
one more game. Literally one more game.
Yeah, but Josh, you're saying 2 days versus 2 weeks. That's a huge amount of time.
Yeah, I understand that, but
all right, fair enough. Okay,
we're not getting into that.
I'm not going to argue on dates of the week.
Yeah, like it does.
The point is, he scored second game, man, and against the Islanders. That makes me happy.
I want to give a lot of credit to 2 guys, both of them on the Rangers defense. And one of those guys is Brendan Smith, who people give a lot of crap to because he's inconsistent as hell. And while he might be, there's no question that he steps up. He steps up when he needs to step up. and he had to step up. He was not in uniform for the first game, and he played his heart out, and he had an assist, and he made some excellent defensive plays in his own end. It started really with that breakup of the pass that he eventually ended up getting the primary assist to a breakaway goal by Artemi Panarin. After he basically broke up the play, found Panarin, made a beautiful stretch pass, hit him in stride.
That was
Panarin
beautiful, by the way. He got the open look. He stopped the puck and boom, down
exactly
the
right.
That
It
was perfect.
quick. And he had some good breakup. Like, again, he was very solid in his own, especially on the penalty kill. And then Keandre Miller. And I know he didn't get his first NHL point. At least I don't think he did.
Adam Fox did, by the way. Big shout out to
Adam Fox. He was great. He had the assist to Panarin on the power play. But Keandre Miller, I think, is really, I mean, he's stepped up. And I know it's only been 2 games. And I know, like they said he looked a lot more comfortable in the second game, and he did, but he didn't look so uncomfortable, at least to me, in the first game, especially like first NHL game ever. You're playing it against, your biggest rival. And this is a guy who had been in their system for a good 2.5 years prior with no NHL experience. He was only playing in college. It's not like he's really going against anyone. Well, not at all. He's not going against anyone who he played against in college just yet, so he hasn't figured it out. And he's going up against guys like Barzal. Yeah, he's starting against guys like Matthew Barzal, Anders Lee, Jordan Eberle, who aren't the best of the best, but are definitely on the end of the better players in the NHL, if you ask me. I think he handled it great. Obviously, it didn't end well. They got their butts kicked 4-0, and that's not good, especially in a season where you have to be good against everyone because you're only playing.
So there were some bad penalties. There were some moments, like we all know a certain player got scratched this game, the second game.
But he got it back. And I also and I know like that's it on the defensive end, but I know there's a lot of hype also surrounding Alexis Lafreniere, and that's not a question. He's the first overall pick. They're comparing him to Crosby and McDavid as a potential franchise-changing player. The first Quebec drafted player overall, first overall since Fleury. So obviously there's a big name to fill there, even though it's a different position. But with what Fleury's done in his career, he's won 3 cups, and Lafreniere is now going like he was a game-changing goalie for the Penguins. Lafreniere is looking to be. He's only 2 games in. And even though he hasn't scored,
he played in the top 6, mind you.
And even though he hasn't scored yet, he's had some real nice looks, and he knows when to pass and when to shoot. Similar, a lot of people were saying Kaapo Kakko last year, was going to do it. He was showing he was way more NHL ready than Jack Hughes after the way he played in the World Juniors, and he was on fire. No one could stop the guy. But I feel like Kaapo Kakko was afraid to shoot last year. In his first game or 2. That's why when they finally his 3rd game, when he had that opportunity in that 2-on-1 rush, that they decided to say, I'm going to shoot, and it paid off. Now, obviously, he didn't really change. He kind of changed back to I'm a little nervous, and that happens in your first.
No, but toward the end of the season, before the shutdown, he was
starting to put it together, and he's come out. He took opportunities when they came to him in game 1, and while the Rangers didn't score at all.
Yeah, he looked good in the bubble. He looked good in the bubble.
Yeah, and he could have easily passed that puck back to Phil DiGiuseppe on the 2-on-1 goal, but he elected to take the shot. He said, I'm going to try and score. He scored. Good for him. Same thing with Alexis Lafreniere, except I give him a lot of credit because he is not trying to get rid of the puck when it's a lot of pressure still. I know first overall.
I think he's going to be a lot more ready than Kakko was last year. I think
I think he's showing that. And while he also hasn't recorded his first point, he came very close because he made one heck of a play on the second Buchnevich goal. He was the player who I don't remember who was out at the point for the Islanders, but he made the play that tied up the Islanders defender, which let the puck go by him and back into the Islanders defensive zone, where Buchnevich was eventually able to chase it down. It was an unassisted goal.
That was unassisted, right? But if he somehow got it to Buchnevich, he would have got the.
It doesn't matter because to me, he didn't get the assist on paper, but he team play could not have made a better play right there, because that's what you're supposed. You're able to clear the lane for a guy to come in and get a scoring chance like that. He did his job, point or not. It just shows his IQ is working well already for the NHL level. And it's amazing to see. what he's doing already before he's scoring and how he's helping the team. Imagine what it will be like once he's fully on task, what they're expecting him to become.
Yeah, very exciting team. But it's only 2 games, so we'll have to just wait and see how it goes. We can't be certain yet. But I'm having big hopes for this team. Big hopes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that will do it today for the JJ Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Like or subscribe or don't. I do not care. Have a good week. We'll see you next time on the JJ Sports Podcast.